Good evening everyone and welcome along to League of Europe. We are here for Formula 2 action. It's Season 5, Division 1, as we take in Round 5 of the Championship, as we take in the Abu Dhabi circuit from Yas Marina. My name is James Hayden, of course, going to be taking you through the stream as always, and joining me in the commentary box it is Mr. Michael Edwards. Mike, how are you doing?
I am doing great. It's a Monday evening. It wouldn't be a Monday evening without any F2 action to check out, would it?
It definitely wouldn't. It definitely wouldn't. And obviously, we're still in these weird times that we all live in, of course. But, speaking of weird, I had to create a new character, and you can probably see the super license flashing at the top right-hand side of the screen. I don't know how to get rid of it, but we'll cope. We'll cope. It'll go when we go into qualifying, of course. Toxic leading the way, then coming into tonight, 151 points. Ruta in second on 121, and Verstappen in third on 110. Rocco in fourth on 103. Nathan's fall from grace in fifth on 100 points. Campbell in 6th on 98, with Miami in 7th on 82, Larkin 8th on 73, Zerba 9th on 58, and Nolan in 10th on 56. Brent, RJDW, M Short, Pharrell Fury, Sofian, Josh, Chill, Prince Killer, Killer Blue, and Benny are your top 20 drivers. And Toxic's got a 30-point advantage coming into tonight. Mike, obviously we're halfway through the championship after tonight. Is Toxic in the prime seat to try and take another championship win?
Yeah, the way Toxic has driven this season it's been brilliant. I mean, you look, Brazil, he took away victory there. He got second, I believe fourth in Britain. He got a double podium, first and second in China, and obviously he took the race win last time out in Zandvoort. I believe he got fifth in the sprint race in Zandvoort, 11 points.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so Toxic been doing a fantastic job, and I mean, you mentioned it, Nathan, fall from grace. Very similar race to Silverstone last time out for Nathan. Looking very strong in the feature race, then just fell away in the sprint race.
Yeah, it always seems to go from him in the sprint race as opposed to the feature race. Feature race, he's very consistent. Has had, second and third, I think it was. Or second and fourth, I should say, the last two feature races that we've had. However, Nathan's fall from grace has really came in the sprint races. He's been very inconsistent in terms of the sprint races. We had, of course, that Silverstone race and last time out in Zandvoort, both sprint races there. He had an absolute disaster, even though he won the sprint race 2 weeks ago. So it doesn't make really sense. Hopefully Nathan is going to be here tonight. I know he's been having a few problems with his PS4, and hopefully he'll be joining in tonight. If not, it'll be even a more fall from grace for him out on track. BWT Race Lab lead the way on 249 points. Our Grand Prix actually outscored them by a point. So now the gap is down to 90 points on 159. High Tech in third on 158, a point behind, with MP Motorsport in fourth on 155. Univirtuosi in 5th on 140, Prima 6th on 124, Dam 7th on 52, Trident 8th on 48, Carlin 9th on 38, and Campos in 10th on 14 points. Race Lab again, very, very consistent. Of course, they've got Toxic and Campbell leading the way, and it seems like they've built an unassailable lead.
Yeah, it's, was it 90 points at this stage? We're not even at the halfway point of the season. Like, they are in total command now, and it's gonna be difficult for the likes of ART High Tech to really begin to close that gap. But look at the battle for second, ART High Tech and MP Motorsport. That is very tight indeed.
Yeah, 4 teams separated by a handful of points out on track, which is fantastic to look at. I've been reminded, by the way, by Nolan, and it's a good job he actually picked up on this. Nathan has got a qualifying ban for trying to cheat using the setup last week in Zandvoort. So that is Nathan. If he races here, he might not be racing, we might be waiting on him to come. If not, then he has got a qualifying ban, and obviously I don't think if he races tonight it'll be rolled over to next week where we'll have to serve the qualifying ban, although it might get worse from you never really know. Matthias said in the comment section as well, saying expect dive bombs. Yeah, dive bombs certainly down in towards turn 8, I would think, maybe into the hairpin as well, the corner beforehand. But it remains to be seen. I think actually we're going to be looking at some really clean racing out on track. Hopefully everyone's got their wits about them. Hopefully we don't see many dive bombs.
Yeah, this track There's a lot of overtaking opportunities at this track. Obviously, we got turn 1 into turn 5 at the start of the second sector. If you get a somewhat adequate run in your side by side through 5 and 6, you can go for a little lunge into 7 at the hairpin. Obviously, down into turn 8 with DRS and into 11 with our second DRS. A lot of overtaking opportunities, and we could see some good racing out there.
Yeah, I think we can see some good racing out there, certainly out on track. Just by the way, Nathan saying he thinks it's worked, he'll be about 2 or 3 minutes. Well, we're in that 2 or 3 minute time range now from his message, so hopefully Nathan will be joining in. Nolan as well on the Discord saying, we don't care about the driver's title, it's washed. It's all about the fight for second in the constructors. Yeah, it totally is in terms of the constructors, but you never know. Toxic might have an absolute disastrous weekend here in Abu Dhabi. He might get dive bombed left, right and centre, might be down at the back of the field. You never can predict these things in Formula 1 and certainly in Formula 2 here tonight. Nolan saying good stewarding as well. That's what he gets for trying to cheat. Obviously relating to Nathan's qualifying ban, that is. And hopefully the guys out on track will be readying up very soon indeed. Hopefully we will get Nathan in, and if we do, we have got 15 drivers. At least we can actually not call him a newbie like I mistakenly did last week.
Yes, during that transitional phase from XL to Relentless, you didn't realise that was his old gamer tag.
Nobody told me. Nobody told me it was his old gamer tag. I've been around the block quite a few times here in League of Europe, but come on, I don't know his name. God, Nathan's a lot better than NWBB or whatever it was.
It was funny though, very funny. Just to see that a simple error, especially considering the fact that he was XL Lando, then NWB, now Relentless Nathan.
All I could thank now is Gary for last week and for Jav for actually picking up in Relentless. I know that may throw a little bit of shade to the XL guys, but at least I can actually pronounce his name, and at least I can actually see that he's not a newbie, which is fantastic. So thank you, Jav. Thank you.
Well, I mean, the one thing that we did see last week is we saw these teams actually go into battle on track. We saw QVR versus XL, QVR versus Relentless, Relentless versus XL, and it's gonna be interesting moving forward, because obviously the addition of a new team into the equation in Relentless is gonna throw a couple of more spanners in the works, I think.
I believe RJDW, by the way, is listening to us in his stream. We might do a little bit of feedback here. If he's probably listening in to us in comms, we all better get going, so actually I'm not going to do that. But we shall see, out on track, the Yas Marina circuit. 5.5 kilometres in length, 3.4 mile in distance, with, I don't know how many laps around here. I cannot predict you how many laps there's going to be. There will be a few laps. That's all I'm going to say. There will be a few laps out on track, and of course 21 turns awaiting these guys out on track, and hopefully it is going to be a fantastic night's worth of racing as we now get into one-shot qualifying. Of course, one-shot qualifying for the feature race, and then of course we've got the feature race after that, and then the sprint race, of course, is the reversed grid top 8. And in those sprint races, Mike, obviously with one eye to the feature race currently, those sprint races do like to throw up some very, very strange results.
Yeah, I think when it comes to the sprint races, it's a lot more hectic. You see a lot more, pardon the pun, a lot more relentless driving and trying to get position.
You had to, didn't you?
I mean, I did say pardon the pun.
Pardon the fun, yeah. Nathan saying he did the update, sadly not working, so his PS4 seemingly like it's on the blink, as it seems. But we are here, of course, in Yas Marina, not Marina Bay, as I like to call it in, I think it was TTML when I last commentated on this track, if I'm not mistaken. But Zerdaba and Ruta were just waiting on readying up, and we should be getting going very soon indeed for the action out on track. Speaking of which, we're going on board with Zerdama as he now comes through the final corner in the high tech. We'll get all the telemetry and everything on as he now comes across the line. And look at Giotto's car as he runs down now in towards turn number 1. Nolan, Verstappen, Josh up there in the field. Zerderman not making ground. Has he invalidated coming through turn 1 and 2? Oh, now he's making up ground. Coming through turn 2, then through Car Killer Corner at turn 3, as I like to call it. Zerderman now running down through the first sector. It's a 20.2 through the first sector, not the quickest at all. Campbell, Reuter, Toxic towards the top end of the field, but Zerderman now coming through turn 6 at the hairpin. Just about gets through turn 7, and then now down the straight, down on the DRS straight, down in towards turn number 8. Campbell, Toxic, Reuter currently your top 3. Zerderman now trying to pinpoint his line as he runs down now in towards turn number 8. Will break just before the 100 metre board. We'll get the car turned in. Very nice indeed on the brakes. And he doesn't want to be hanging like a cow coming through turn 9. Zerderman now comes through turn 9. Now on the old F2 pit straight. Of course, he came here in 2010. I've just got sound in my left ear there. Zerderman now coming through toward the end of the middle sector. Verstappen's just ahead of him on track to 105.2 through the middle sector from Zerderman. Toxic, Campbell, the two BWTs right up there with Reuter and Rocco. Relentless trying to challenge Toxic and QVR Campbell as well. But Zerderman now coming out through where the S Marina is on the right hand side. And now Zerderman comes in through the triple right of 16 and then into 17. Gets very hard on the brakes. Now underneath the grandstand in towards 18. And not looking like the quickest lap, I've got to say. But it's certainly clean enough as he now comes through turn 19. Neatly wide for wide into the wall. As soon as I say that, breaks at the 50 metre ball. Gets the car turned in for turn 20. It's a clean lap from Zerderman as long as he gets around the final corner through turn 21. It's not going to be tough. Zerderman though across the line. It's a 149.1. I didn't actually see who was on pole, so we'll confirm that for
Toxic.
You in just a second. I thought it was Toxic. I wasn't going to say it because I thought I might be wrong, but Toxic, it seems, out on top. Oh, wow. 300ths of a second from his own teammate. 300ths of a second from Toxic to Campbell. Verstappen in third. 5.5 tenths off the pace with Reuter in fourth. Rocco in fifth, less than 6 tenths of a second separating the top 5. Josh in sixth, he made his debut, of course, in League Group Division 1. RGW in seventh, just 8 thousandths off the back of Josh. Miami in eighth, Benny in ninth, and Brent running off the top 10. Zerderman with 1.5 second down on Toxic's lap in 11th. Sofian in 12th, 1.8 seconds down. Larkin and Nolan both getting disqualified from the session.
Yeah, and interesting thing with qualifying, we did see Campbell and Toxic trading positions back and forth, especially in that final sector. And I was on board with Campbell, just a little bit of a snap on his rear end coming through the final corner, and that's what cost him pole position here.
Jav saying, you are welcome, James, mate. Came prepared with the tissues today, so I don't have to dip halfway through. And yeah, if you listen back to League of Division 1, I do apologise about the NSFW that suddenly came into the commentary box on that evening. But we've been very professional here tonight, and there's not going to be any such thing. As I think Mike has choked on something. Anyways, we are...
Yep.
But we are about to get going into the formation lap for the feature race. The sprint race, of course, is going to come up. You could see the United Arab Emirates flag flying at full mast, and of course we will be getting going very soon indeed for the action out on track. And I'm pained to say what everyone is going to be on in terms of the strategy, as now we're about to start this formation up. The two BWTs at the top 16 laps awaiting these drivers. I think it's at 16 and 12 if I'm not mistaken around here, as Toxic nearly slid his way into the wall coming off the start line.
Yeah, very strange from Toxic. They almost go straight into the wall. And apologies, everyone. I was drinking a cup of coffee, and I needed a cough at the same time, so I started choking on my coffee.
I'm glad you're still here. We didn't want you falling ill because of the choking of the coffee. Terrible. Oh, Toxic again slides coming out of turn 6. Has he got a very unstable setup on? Unless he is absolutely flailing the car about. I think he's flailing the car about and having a bit of fun with this, if I've got to be honest. Everyone, though, on a set of soft compound tyre, apart from Rocco, Brent and Sofian, all on a set of super soft compound tyre. Rocco, really the exception rather than the rule, in the top 10, along with Brent.
Yeah, Rocco looking to try and get his positions early on the super soft tyres, and we'll see how he gets on. Of course, he doesn't have cars ahead of him, so the longer he stays behind them, the worse off he is going to be.
Yeah, Rocco obviously on a set of super softs. He would be very quick, I think, within the first 3 laps, and then it really all begins to come away from them. The tyres around here really degrade very hard indeed, and the guys on a set of super softs will be degrading at about 6% a lap, possibly on their tyres if they are looking up into corners. If they're not, then it'll probably be about 5% a lap. On a set of soft compounder tyre, of course these guys are on fresh tyres from the qualifying session that took place. Rocco and Brent and Sofian all on a set of super softs. Everyone else, though, should be going about 4 or 5%.
Campbell's around in the wall.
At least he's got it going unlike Hamilton and Imola.
Yeah, so I was just on board with Campbell as Redeemer gets disqualified. He was weaving around trying to warm up his tyres and he just lost the back end into the wall he goes.
And luckily no damage from Campbell there as well, which is good to see. Quickly though, before we begin, the final calls are coming round. Who's your top 3?
I'm going to go Campbell for the win, Verstappen second, and I'm going to go Rocco third.
This is going to have to be the quickest curtain shut and light put on I've ever done before we get going into the race. I'm just nicking through. There we go. The 5 red lights are now coming on here in Abu Dhabi for round 5 of the championship. It's the feature race and it's lights down and away we go. And Toxic gets a good start. Campbell gets a shocker. Verstappen and Wouter are already going to get through down in towards turn 1. Toxic leads. Verstappen in second. Wouter in third. And Wouter is now through the University. There's a car spinning in the background. That was Miami having a bit of a spin there. But Toxic leads the way. Verstappen in second. Verstappen keeping Toxic honest coming through turn 3 for the first time. RJW is going side by side with Josh trying to go all the way around the outside. He's got his teammate on the inner as well. Benny's on the inner, now on the outside line, and just about gets that move done. Benny, brilliant down the inside line. Round on the outside through turn 6, gets the move done. Bit of a Constantino effect in behind. Nolan right on the back of RJW as well, the Division 2 champ in 8th position. Rocco hasn't made any head ground so far. It's 0.3 of a second back from Campbell. RGW though right on the back of Benny, going side by side with his teammate. He's got Brent Larkin absolutely fighting RGW now down the inside of Benny. Gets the move done on Wouter, and Campbell I think have made contact as well.
Yeah, Campbell tried it down the inside.
Oh, and Josh is off! Josh has gone spearing off into the wall, and Sofian, that's got to be a safety car surely. Sofian has gone spearing off coming through turn 9 as well. Josh went spearing off into the wall. Looks like it's left side end plate damage in fact, and it's a full course yellow, and that means it is a VSC as opposed to a safety car. Yeah, VSC deployed, then out on track. Toxic the lead, Verstappen second, Campbell in third. What a hectic start.
Yeah, so just going back to the Campbell Ruda incident, Campbell having a look down the inside, going very late on the brakes, and he just could not get the car slowed down enough. Pretty much punted Ruda off track, and just looking to see if there's any wing damage on Ruda. Doesn't appear to be. But he's got away with that, but he has lost out 2 positions now.
Yeah, that right side end plate damage, I thought it was the right side end plate actually, that could be damage for Wouter, but it looks all fine. We're about to get underway. Onto lap 2 we go. Typical graphic switch to the left hand side, but Toxic leads the way. Josh has picked up a drive-through penalty for speeding to the VSC. That was an absolute disaster for Josh. He went spearing off into the wall coming through turn 9. He's had a 5-second penalty. He may as well retire, and he has. Josh has retired into the pit lane. It's totally understandable, I think, him retiring because of the incident that he occurred and because of that penalty that he picked up under the safety car. But Wouter trying to get onto the back of Rocco. Rocco is now right on the back of Campbell though, and now this is going to be quite interesting because Rocco is in behind in the Arc Grand Prix. The race lab of course of Campbell just ahead. He's on a set of super soft compounder tyre. You can see on the right hand side there's no DRS enabled because we are on lap 2 as opposed to the graphics that showing on lap 3. Toxic still leading, Verstappen in second, Campbell in third, and it looks like the front 2 are getting an element of control over the race, I think.
Yeah, the top 2 appears to be very comfortable from at this moment. Campbell obviously looking behind him rather than ahead of him this time.
Why is that?
Switch back maybe?
Why is there blue flags?
I'm
On the right-hand side, as Nolan has got through on Benny, down into the left-hand side, coming through 13, he gets the move done. Nolan through on Benny.
Yeah, very interesting catch here for the blue flags, and I believe they're still waving, but...
They're around the whole track, I think.
Very unusual glitch here in the F1 game. I mean, not like we've never seen a glitch before.
Tell us about it. I think it might fix itself, actually. We're about to go on to lap 3. We'll see if the blue flags go down on the run towards turn 1. No, they're still there, running down in towards turn 1. Very weird goings on. Toxic leads the way from Verstappen in second, Campbell in third, Rocco in fourth. And Rocco hasn't made as much ground as what he would have hoped. He's on a set of super soft compound tyre. Looked like something went flailing off, by the way. And is that damage on the inside of turn 1? Everyone's through there now. Was that the polystyrene board getting hit? Something went flying there.
Yeah, I think it might have been a polystyrene board that got hit, and looks like Campbell now starting to settle into this race. He's closing up to Verstappen. Verstappen, I don't think has DRS on stock 6, so Campbell's going to close up.
Yeah, everyone's got DRS on each other, it seems, as Brent is going to try and close in on Benny, looking for the inside move down in towards turn number 8. Tries to go all the way around the outside. He could go switch back here. As actually Zerderman neatly goes into the back of Miami. Larkin was trying to go down the inside line as well in that. As Brent, Nolan makes a mistake, and now Benny right on the back of Nolan. Nolan's going to be under all sorts of pressure running down in towards turn 11. Benny's right on the back, but I think Nolan's just got the legs in that car. Has he? Yes, he has. And he stays. Actually, Benny goes for the inside line, and Campbell has spun. Campbell has spun. Coming through turn number 11.
From Benny, the switchback in the chicane.
Campbell round, and Benny obviously getting that move done. Sorry, I had to cut onto Campbell there because I didn't know what happened in terms of the spin. Benny then is still in P6. Goodness me, Zerdemer has gone miles wide coming through turn 17 as well. Nolan now pressurising Benny, but all sorts of happening, goings on really. Campbell, we saw him spin in the formation lap, and he's done it out on track. Does this mean to say that he's going to try and work through the field behind Larkin and Brent?
This is going to be interesting now for Campbell. He's lost a lot of positions, a lot of time and a lot of ground on the guys that he was racing against. Maybe he might think more about an undercut now.
Yeah, he could, but obviously he's on a set of soft compound tyres. RGW's just picked up a 3-second time penalty out on track. Nolan right on the back. Campbell, though, looking to the inside line of Larkin, down in towards turn 4. Now through turn 5. Sorry, through 5 and 6, I should say. Campbell on the outside line, pretty much fighting his way through. QVR against Excel. You can catch them up, of course, in the TTML Championship, or EML, I should say, the Teams Championship in a week's time. But Campbell getting first blow on the back of Larkin now. Reuter is right on the back of Rocco. I don't think Jav will be too impressed with the two relentless boys fighting, as Nolan now is going to try and fight past Benny to the outside line coming through turn 8. Just about going to get the move done. He's on the inside line. Just about. Campbell has spun again. And look at Brent's exit. Brent has got 2 of them. Surely it's 3 wide coming out of turn 9. Now through turn 10. And on the run down in towards turn 11. Reuter is through on Rocco. RGW is fighting with Brent down into the braking zone. Benny's on the inside line. And Benny is somehow still came out in 6th position. As Nolan is the one that's lost 2 positions.
Yeah, unbelievable fight in between these 3 guys right here. But just going back to the Campbell incident, he unfortunately once again just a little bit too hot on the brakes, goes into the back of Larkin and gets half spun off the back of XL Larkin, and he's at the moment very lucky to not be dead last.
Oh, and he
gets through on Miami.
Got the inside line, yeah. Miami making a mistake there, hitting the wall quite hard. I thought he got damage as a result of that, but he has, and Campbell is through then, and he's into 10th position. I think Miami realised that. Obviously, if he was to keep the full speed on, Campbell would have dived it down the inside into 20, and there could have been a bit of carnage going on in terms of contact. But Miami on the back of Campbell. Campbell now through, and he's up into 10th, going to try and recover through the field, but it's been an absolute disaster for the Race Lab team out on track, because they're getting outscored by their nearest rivals, Grand Prix, Toxic then leading the way from Verstappen in second, Mutter in third, Rocco in fourth, and Rocco looks like he's dropping off the pace down. These sort of super softs are really not coming into play. It looks like the crossover period has came between the super softs and the softs as Nolan right on the back of Brent.
Yeah, and what we're seeing here now is pretty much two different races. We got Benny, Brent, Nolan, Larkin, Campbell, Miami, and Swadema all fighting it out for P6 on track. It's a bit of a gap up the road to RJW. Another bit of a gap between Rocco and Luca, and then another gap up towards the top two.
Yeah, Rocco right on the back of Ruta, running down in towards turn number 11 again. Doesn't get the move done. Nolan on the back of Brent, I think. Oh, Nolan is going to see this down the inside line. There's only one way that was going to end up, and that was Brent hanging on to the position. Afraid to say, Nolan just got too late on the brakes. Tried to dive it down the inside line, but Nolan is now back in P8. Larkin now right on the back of him. Relentless against XL. This could be quite interesting as Nolan is in 8th position. Larkin in 9th, Campbell in 10th. And actually, it is the three teams that are partnered with the League of Europe at this stage. Relentless, XL and QVR that are fighting out for position.
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting battle as Brent is in as well. I think only... I was looking at anyone else on the Superstars, and I realised that Sofian, unfortunately, is out.
Yeah, Sofian obviously crashing coming through turn 9, and that was him obviously in a set of Superstars. We caught on board with that crash. Went speeding off pretty much in Hulkenberg style in 2018, if I'm not mistaken. Rocco is out. Is out the pit lane as I choke on a fly. Rocco coming out of the pit lane, and he is out ahead of Brent, well ahead of Brent, I've got to say as well. But now his time is now, because he's 17.3 seconds off the back, about 17 seconds off the back of Toxic, of Miami, I should say. But in terms of Toxic, he is 32.9 seconds off the back of Toxic, and Nolan switches the outside line. Benny looks like he's going to let him through here. Nolan all the way around the outside, careers it all the way around the outside. Benny will get the switch back, and look at Larkin getting involved in this as well, but Benny has got the run on Nolan. Nolan now is going to suffer from the no DRS out on track as Benny is Toxic. Picks up his first 3-second top of the night. Benny sees the gap down the inside line. Nolan trying to hang it on the brakes. Benny is through, and Benny, that was really good driving there from Benny, if I've got to say so myself. Benny is through, and he's into 5th position. Pinpoint accurate getting that move done. He let Nolan get ahead of him, and that proved crucial because Benny's through and he's into 5th.
Yeah, I think for Nolan, making a move down into turn 8 is not what he wants to be looking at the moment. He wants to be trying into 11.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say more. Campbell on the back of Larkin. Oh, nearly runs into the back of Larkin actually, and looks at the inside line coming through turn 21. Doesn't quite get the move done.
Yeah, I was just waiting for a bit of an agreement then from you. But as you say, Campbell, once again, it just appears that he's just getting a little bit too hot and heavy on the brakes. He's making a lot of contact with drivers around him.
Yeah, maybe it's something to do with the setup. Campbell though on the back of a Larkin. Is he going to dive it down the inside and towards turn 5? You bet he can. Down the inside, beautiful by Campbell. He is through into P7, but for how long? Because Larkin is going to have that DRS down the straight, and Campbell hasn't really got the greatest exit coming out the hairpin. He gains half a tenth, but Nolan is right on the back of Benny, and these guys are now running a big DRS train. 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. Zerdima's not entirely out of that either, but Nolan now on the back of Benny. Nolan actually backs off on Benny. That's quite strange. Taking it very easily down in towards turn 8. Campbell again hot on the brakes as Larkin tries to look to the outside line, but Larkin right on the back of Campbell gets a really shoddy exit coming out of turn number 10. But Campbell now is Toxic, has picked up another penalty out on track, and look at the gap for the lead. Verstappen's right on the back of him.
Yeah, Verstappen absolutely flying. I think Nolan was listening to us because he's side by side with Benny now for the chicane. Oh, this is so close.
He's still on the inside line. Oh, That's ruthless aggression if I've ever seen it. Campbell makes contact as well with Benny. He's now on the outside line through 15, 16 and 17. This is like Rosberg back in the day around here. And look at Larkin trying to go all the way around the outside. Campbell, I should say, trying to go all the way around the outside. He rejoins track. Larkin is around the outside of him. And has Campbell got damage on that right side end plate damage?
I don't know, he went very deep into 17.
I'm just trying to see, has he got damage on that car? Well, he's coming into the pit lane. Yeah, he has. Right side end plate damage on the car.
Yep, so Campbell into the pits, and I'm interested to see what's the gap between Rocco and Toxic. It's down to 30.3 seconds right now.
So he's getting about, what, 2.5 seconds, I would say, coming out the pit lane, as he bangs in the new fastest lap bang on time as well. So Rocco in 10th is now in prime position, possibly, to try and take this race. Zerdeman right on the back of Larkin. 2XL boys are going to fight at it. Campbell is down in 12th. He's gone onto a set of Supersoft Compana tyre. Supersofts? Really? Obviously, he has to pit in onto that set of tyre. But this early?
Yeah, it does seem a little bit too easy, as we see Verstappen still closing up the Toxic hugging the inside for all dear life there down the second DRS straight, and Verstappen just happy just to sit behind the race lap for the time being.
Yeah, Verstappen right on the back of Toxic. I mean, Larkin is also on the back of Benny, by the way, down in towards turn 11. Colin against the Campos, if I'm not mistaken. That Larkin is driving. Am I right in saying that? No, it's the MP Motorsport. I'm wrong. Benny in 6th position. Larkin in 7th. Zerdemer has dropped off the back, about 1.3 seconds off the back now. Miami in 9th. But Verstappen, you mentioned it. He's right on the back of Toxic, and Toxic surely now is going to be under significant pressure. Looking at the penalties out on track, Toxic needs to be under pressure because he's got 6 seconds worth of penalty. So if he's not already feeling the pressure, he will do now, because Verstappen right on the back of him. Verstappen with a 3-second time penalty. Ruta, RGDW, Nolan, Benny and Larkin all on 3 seconds. Zerdemer on none, Rocco on none, Brent on none and Campbell on none. Miami's got 6 seconds worth of penalties as well. But Verstappen's first sector not entirely quick, and Toxic just pulled away by about 3/10.
Yeah, and interesting thing I wanted to bring up just to keep our eyes on as well. RJDW has been closing in on Ruta for 3rd place.
Yeah, he's been very impressive, I've got to say. RGW tonight, obviously Division 2 champ. He's going to be under a bit of pressure, to be honest, because of Rocco coming obviously out the pit lane. Verstappen now on the back of Toxic, running down in towards turn number 8 again. We are halfway through now in Abu Dhabi. Toxic leading the way. Verstappen in 2nd. Verstappen needs an awesome run out. Gets caught in the curve though, and that really costs the run. He's not going to get the run down in towards the 2nd straight here. I always say down the 2nd straight, you've got to be within 2.5 tenths of each other to try and get the move done. And I think that's the case. It's Verstappen's so late on the brakes. Crosses right up to the back of Toxic, but Toxic runs wide again. Oh, nearly makes a mistake. And now Verstappen right on the back of him, and Toxic must be feeling the pressure now.
Yep, Toxic, he's got that QVR lad of Verstappen directly behind him. All he's going to see is red and white in his mirror, and he is not going to be looking too happy right now when he looks back.
I think Larkin might have damage on the right side end plate, if I'm not mistaken. Larkin has made a mistake coming through, so it's either gone into the back of Benny or gone into the wall somewhere, coming out through the 2nd chicane, and Larkin now is on the back foot. Benny's just made another mistake though out on track, and he has got, I thought he had damage as well, but he hasn't. Larkin then in 7th, and looks like Zerdemer is into the pit lane. Zerdemer is in from 8th position on a free choice of tyre. He's going to be behind Campbell, if I'm not mistaken. Very slow into the pit lane, costs him time. Miami has got 5-second penalty for speeding into the pit lane. Toxic though in that first sector, he's just excelling out on track. No pun intended there whatsoever. Toxic is just excelling through that first sector.
got
Oh, and I
fast,
say that as Verstappen takes the lead off him. Toxic has spun, coming out through turn number 7. It's in the middle sector where he has spun the car. And Toxic, the BWT Race Lab team, now are on the back foot as Verstappen has taken the lead very unexpectedly. Toxic making a very rare mistake here in Formula 2.
Yeah, Toxic, I mean, we mentioned that how is he going to deal with the pressure of Verstappen, and we just seen the pressure just getting a little bit too much, losing the back end on traction, and he loses the race lead.
And RGW is on the back as well of Wouter, running down in towards turn 11. I don't think he's going to be close enough. Larkin and Benny are side by side, and actually Benny has spun. Benny has spun, coming out through turn 9. So Benny gets the car going again. Has he got damage on that car? It looks like he's got away scot-free, which is good. Benny has still stayed in 7th. Rocco is behind him in 8th, but Toxic now applying a lot of pressure to Verstappen. He just ran into the back of him coming through 16.
Yeah, for Toxic and Verstappen now, obviously they got this battle between the pair of them, but what they've also got is this Lumen Spectre in the back as Toxic comes into the pits of Rocco in 8th right now, looking for an undercut, and he has no penalties to his name.
And Wouter's into the pit lane as well from 3rd. RGW now promoted up into 2nd with Toxic into the pit lane as well. But with Rocco, he is where? Out on track. He's coming through turn 19, just underneath the grandstand there. Now coming through turn 20, and Rocco will be hoping for a very, very good in-lap here, or essentially a qualifying lap. Toxic is coming towards the end of the pit stop. This is going to be close. I think this is going to swing in Rocco's favour, though. Rocco is pretty much at full speed. He's going to be ahead by miles here. Rocco down and towards turn 1. Toxic only under the bridge now. Rocco's through. Rocco's now in the lead of the race.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from Rocco. Toxic on those super soft tyres. Not only has he got to get past, he's got to build that gap as well, because the penalties at the moment are heavily favouring Rocco. Not only has Toxic got to get past, he's got to build 6 seconds.
He's got to build from Rocco's point at the minute, 1.4 seconds. He's got to build 7.5 seconds, basically, over Rocco. And if Toxic makes another mistake, that's it. In my regard, that's it. These tyres have only got, I think, 3 laps worth of life in them. As Miami and Larkin are, by the way, side by side, coming out the pit lane. The two MPs are fighting. Larkin in 11th, Miami in 12th. Miami obviously on a fresh set of super softs. He'll be closing in. But Toxic, 1.3 seconds off the back of Rocco. Rocco has got the advantage for now. No DRS is not going to help Toxic at all here in Abu Dhabi, but Toxic will be hoping to try and close in on the back of Rocco. If I was a betting man, and I am, I think Rocco's going to win this.
Yeah, Rocco is in prime position, and the question is now for Toxic, how close is Verstappen going to be to him? As we'll find out very soon, because Verstappen's in. Yeah,
Verstappen into the pit lane, dead on the pit limiter coming in. Toxic, RGW as well into the pit lane. Yuki Tsunoda's car, of course. Toxic then on the back of Rocco. They're only coming out of turn 19. I mentioned it with Rocco. He was coming out of turn 19. Now, the Prima pit stop is further down in the pit lane than Toxic's was, the BWT. As now, we've got a yellow flag in Sector 2. I think that's Larkin that has spun coming through the final chicane. This is going to be extraordinarily close between Verstappen and the top 3. Here as Rocco and Toxic are coming through camera shot now. This is very close indeed. Verstappen, I think, is going to come out in 3rd, but it's actually the prime position as Toxic is right on the back of Rocco. Verstappen is going to be about 4 or 5 tenths of a second off, I think. He's actually right on the back of them. And Verstappen's looking to the outside line. Oh, nearly forced off track by Toxic. And Verstappen out of the pit lane is now right on the back of Rocco. And now, game on, top 3 about to do. Who said Abu Dhabi was boring?
This is where we're going to see who is going to take a victory here. Will it be Rocco? Will it be Toxic? Will it be Verstappen? As DRS is engaged down the main straight. Toxic to the inside. Can Verstappen find the
Rocco's a sitting duck. Yeah, Verstappen's down on the inside line, down in towards turn 8. Toxic is through, but is he going to get the move done? No, Verstappen actually backs off. I would have went for the move there, to be honest. You've got to chase down the guy that's on a set of super soft compounded tyre. And Rocco's got DRS, and that has cost Verstappen surely, unless he's got an absolute awesome car on the brakes, and we're about to find out if he has. No, Verstappen stays in behind. The further he stays in behind, the more he's going to get held up, and the more that Toxic's going to pull away. This has suddenly swung into Toxic's favour.
Yeah, the question is now, can Toxic pull away to such an extent that he can make up for the penalties? Because remember, Verstappen's only got 3 seconds, so at the moment Toxic looking at P3 as he goes deep, and that's going to compromise him. Rocco well back in this as he goes a little bit deep there, and Verstappen closing up. Place your bets, people, that's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, Router's 6.5 seconds behind. I think you've got to count him out of it, to be honest, but Toxic leading around the final corner to start lap 13 out on track. He's got nearly a second lead. Toxic now has suddenly broken Rocco, and Rocco has let Verstappen go, and that's the rightful decision. Verstappen is now through, he's into second. Obviously, Rocco has got to be behind Verstappen by a second to try and be dragged into this contention. Has Verstappen now got the pace is what he's going to be relying on. Rocco has got to rely on Verstappen to be as quick as Toxic out on track, if not quicker. Otherwise, Rocco was just going to lose time. And look at that. Rocco was already losing time. It's 0.8 of a second, 0.9 of a second into the hairpin.
Yeah, he's actually just dipped over a second, but I believe Rocco will still have DRS.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure if he's going to get on the second straight, though.
I don't think he will. He might, but Verstappen is pulling away. It depends on the brakes, really. If Rocco is good enough on the brakes to try and stay within a second. The detection point is coming up very soon indeed. He's going to be out of it. I think he's going to be out of it, yeah. Second, there's the detection point. He's 1.2 seconds off. Verstappen now on the back of Toxic, and suddenly it became a straight fight as Nolan is through on Brent down the inside, or on the outside line through turn 8, and Nolan's through on Brent, and he's up to P6.
Yeah, we'll see if Brent can come back. He will have that DRS to try and make the move. Is he going to have enough in it? I'm not sure.
He might.
Hang on, he might.
He might. Oh, Nolan cuts across. I think Nolan was always going to cut across on the back of Brent, or on the just in front of Brent, and make sure that position is his. Nolan in 6th, Brent in 7th. Verstappen, though, trying to apply a lot of pressure now onto Toxic. You can pretty much now factor Rocco, I would say, out of this for now, but as long as he stays within 3 seconds worth of Verstappen, I mean it's 1.9 now, it looks very unlikely as if he might. Verstappen 49.7, I think Toxic's at a 50.2, and Verstappen is 5/10 quicker on that lap than Toxic out on track. We'll just confirm that fastest lap, of course, set 49.7, 50 flat in fact by Toxic, as Sofian has rejoined the session.
Yeah, Sofian obviously wanted to make sure he gets back in before the sprint race starts, actually. And I think we'll be seeing Josh rejoin very soon as well. But what we got now, Rocco is outside of that 3 second window for Verstappen. So Verstappen right now looking in prime position to win this race.
Yeah, 2.6 seconds at the minute between Rocco and Verstappen. Verstappen is 3 seconds pretty much inferior to Toxic at this stage, but Verstappen looks to the inside line. The Dutchman really trying to scare Toxic in from a mistake. We saw it once before, and we nearly saw it again as he went over the curb there. Now Verstappen has got a sensational run. Josh rejoins the session as Verstappen now right on the back of Toxic. This is only going to go one way, surely. The Prima against the BWT, and the BWT's got to be hard on the brakes, but he's not. Verstappen careers. Has he gone too deep? No, he hasn't. Verstappen is through, and he's into the lead of the race, but Toxic applying the pressure, coming through the chicane once again, through turn 13, now through 14, and then through the triple right of 15, 16, 17 with Marino on the right hand side. Rocco was 3 seconds out of Toxic's time range, but that is an advantage for Rocco as opposed to Verstappen, who's now 3.5 seconds up the road. Verstappen leading the way, Toxic in second. Rocco's tyres, though, are going to be the main factor. They're going to come into play. These super softs are going to begin to wear very soon indeed.
Yeah, and another interesting battle that we got going on is Toxic picks up another 3 second time penalty, and this might actually put him under. It could put him under threat maybe if he has another mistake to Ruta and RJDW, which was the other battle I was going to allude to. This battle for 4th is starting to heat up half a second in it.
Yeah, RGW right on the back of Ruta. It's not often you see a Division 2 champion on the back of a title contender in Ruta, who's second in the championship coming in tonight. Ruta, of course, formerly known as Sweet Crown. RJDW, though, having his best race of his League of Europe F2 career, I think, at this stage. He's in 5th position, but he's closing in on a championship leader, or a championship rival, I think. But RGW doing a fantastic job. Toxic on the back of Verstappen once again as they run down the straight for the penultimate time out on track. Verstappen leading Toxic second, Rocco in third. Rocco is losing less time now compared to Toxic, what he was a lap ago. RGW though coming hunting down on the back of the Univirtuosity of Ruta and the Carlin of RGW, and RJDW, he might have Darth Vader-like gloves on his steering wheel. He really does. RGW on the back of Ruta. Is he going to try and be Starship End? No, that's a different thing.
No, I think that's smart. That's smart from RJ. He's going to save it for the final lap, I think.
Yeah, he will save it for the final lap, and is he going to be on the back of Ruta? At this stage, Ruta makes a mistake, and that's RGW through, and he's into P4. Another mistake from the Univirtuosi out on track. So many mistakes, he nearly goes deep into RGW's backside there, but that sounded wrong. RGW in fourth, Ruta in fifth position. RGW now making Ruta making a very rare mistake again, and RGW now put in a very prime spot to take fourth position.
Yeah, and he's already built that gap up pretty decently, especially for the final corner. They're jumping up over 2 tenths ahead of where he was versus Ruta going into the final corner, and the gap is borderline right now for Ruta.
Yeah, it is borderline. He's got 3 seconds time. 3 seconds worth of time penalty. Oh, Verstappen's gone deep. Verstappen goes deep into the hairpin, and now Toxic side by side with him, coming out of turn 7. Did Verstappen mean to do that? Toxic now right on the back of him, and this is going to give a sensational ending to this race. Prima and the BWT side by side. Toxic looks to the inside line. Verstappen on the outside line now. Battle of the late breakers down in towards turn 8. Toxic is the one ahead, but that's smart from Verstappen because Verstappen is going to get the DRS. Verstappen is going to have the DRS on the back of Toxic, and now is the point to use it. Toxic tries to take the toe desperately away from Verstappen, but Verstappen, I don't think he's got the closing speed. He's not even using up his DRS. Toxic has got the lead running down in towards turn 13, but is Verstappen aware? Obviously they can get it done out on track, but is he aware of Toxic's 9 seconds worth of penalties in front of him? He must be, because Verstappen looks like he's taking a little shade easily now. Toxic coming through the final couple of corners. We've got Zerdimer and Brent fighting out for 7th and 8th as well. Zerdimer to the outside line. Is he not going to career around the outside of turn 11, is he? No way around the outside. Zerdimer and Brent. Zerdimer picks up a 3-second time penalty, and that is karma, I think, for trying to complete the move around the outside of there. Toxic is coming around the final couple of corners though, and Toxic round in the final couple of corners. He is going to win out on track. It's now over a second, but Toxic has won out on track, but he hasn't, because Verstappen has taken the win, and Rocco is going to come across the line to finish in second as well. It's borderline between RGW and Toxic, I think, coming across the line, and RGW finishes in fourth, Ruta in fifth. Nolan is coming around the final couple of corners to finish in sixth. Zerdimer's not entirely given up on the back of Brent. Now he has, though, as Nolan comes around the final corner to finish in sixth. Brent will be promoted up. He goes sixth. Nolan in seventh. Zerdimer in eighth. Campbell in the end finishing in ninth. A disappointment from Campbell with those mistakes. Benny in 10th. He's going to drop behind Miami. I think Miami comes across the line. I don't think he did, actually. Miami finishes in 11th.
Yep, Miami in 11th. See, what this does now is it's very interesting now for this sprint race, as Nolan gets the in-game driver of the day. It's going to be very interesting because you have Verstappen, you're going to have Toxic, you're going to have Campbell all the way at the low end of the top 10.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. Obviously, Campbell going to be starting outside of that top 10. Top 8, of course, getting the reverse grade. But out on track, it is Verstappen who has taken yet another win here in League of Europe Formula 2, maybe becoming a championship contender in the process. He wins out on track in the feature race. The sprint race, of course, still to come. But Verstappen has got one hand on the title here this week, certainly. May have one hand on the title later on in the season. Who knows? But Verstappen has taken the win. 27 points go his way with the 2 points for the fastest lap. Rocco across the line in second with Toxic in third. RGDW in an absolute career best for him in fourth. Reuter in fifth with Brent in sixth. Nolan 7th. Zerdimer 8th. Campbell 9th. Benny rounding off the top 10. Miami the only other finisher in 11th, with Larkin DNFing out of the race. Not sure if he retired in the pit lane. I didn't actually see that. Josh across the line in 13th, and Sofian not finishing either in 14th position. But Verstappen ahead of Rocco, ahead of Toxic.
And yeah, Verstappen now jumps up to second in the championship. Rocco closes up on Reuter for third. So all to play for now between those three.
Yeah, game on. And literally, what I said at the start of the stream becomes true. Anything can happen here in Formula 2. Toxic making a mistake, dropping down to third in the end because of the penalties. And then you get, obviously, more penalties out on track from the rest. But it could be quite a fascinating race in the sprint race. Of course, it is blue skies here, because the sprint race has traditionally run in the afternoon compared to the feature race, which is traditionally run at night around here in Abu Dhabi. But again, another tour of this 5.5 kilometre circuit, 21 turns awaiting these guys once again out on track. And if I'm not mistaken, it's either 11 or 12 laps that these guys are going to be running round.
Yeah, I think it's 11 laps, if memory is correct. Not sure.
Is it 5? It's normally 5 laps less than the feature race, isn't it? We'll find out. Yeah, it's 11 laps. Thank goodness for that. But we were right for once in terms of the lap count. But Zerdimer is the one on provisional. Oh, he is on pole position because of the reverse grid. Nolan second, Brent third, Reuter fourth, RGW fifth, Toxic sixth, Rocco seventh, Verstappen and eighth. Everyone, not surprisingly, going for a set of softs.
Yeah, and look at that collection from 6th down to 9th. Toxic, Rocco, Verstappen, Campbell. There's going to be some fireworks, I think.
Campbell, by the way, saying in Discord just before he came into the sprint race, his tyres were at 90%. His tyres were at 90%, 4.6 seconds off his best time. That's absolutely insane.
Hopefully Campbell will be able to have a better run of things here in the sprint race. He'll be hoping for that also. But yeah, that's absolutely insane. 90+% on tyres at the end of the feature race. Fantastic.
Yeah, and obviously with the way the punctures work around here, normally you pick up a puncture at about 70% from around 70% on this game. 90% is just taking the mick, to be honest. Bullet Boy, I remember in TTML, went to, what, 92, 93% I think on his tyres in TTML Division 1. Absolutely remarkable. And of course Bullet Boy is in League of Europe Division 1 as well, which I commentate on a Saturday night. There's rumours circulating, by the way. I've just seen something in the Discord, in the general chat. UEFA, apparently, with this European Super League, they're planning to remove and ban every European Super League club from the Champions League and the UEFA Europa League as well, this Friday with immediate effect.
Yeah, of course, in the sport of football, or depending on where you are in the world, I will say soccer for wherever you are in the world as well. But football for us, I mean, this is big news for the sport, but I mean, I'm a rugby fan, it doesn't bother me.
It's a good job you are a rugby fan. I of course, am a hardened Sunderland fan, but there we are. As we are about to take the start, and Mike, you're going to take us through it.
Yeah, so we are just waiting for everyone now to get in their grip positions, and here we go, awaiting those 5 red lights to get us underway. 11 laps await, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Lights are out, and we are underway, and it looks like a very good start there from Toxic, all the way up into 4th already. Fantastic traction.
Oh, and there's damage! Wooter's got left side end plate damage, run right into the back of Toxic. There's end plates flying everywhere. Josh, I think, got run over that front wing damage as well. But Toxic, Wooter into the back of him.
Oh, God, he's trying to squeeze his way through RGW and Verstappen at the same time there.
Goodness me, carnage kicking off here in League Group. The sprint race always features a lot of action, but already we have seen our fair share of it as RGW gets forced wide. Campbell now is going to have the run down the straight as we see the sun glaring in the driver's eyes as they run down the straight. Halfway down the straight now is RGW taking on Campbell, one former champion against League of Europe's Formula 2 champion in Division 2 last season. RGW tries to look all the way to the outside line. Josh is very late on the brakes. Oh, and there's carnage, and Verstappen's been spun. Verstappen has been spun. The race winner in the feature race has been spun. Campbell's got a 5-second penalty, I think, for corner cutting as well in that. Benny got caught up in that incident as well. I think Verstappen and Benny made side-by-side contact. Verstappen came away relatively unscathed. Benny now all the way down the field. RGW tries to launch it on Larkin. Doesn't get the move done. Larkin on the outside line. He's still there. Larkin through. He's into 9th.
Absolutely fantastic there from Larkin to hang it around the outside there.
Oh, we've had our fair share of action already. Zernemer leading the way. Nolan second. Toxic in third. Toxic with an absolute lightning start off the grid, making 2 positions right from the get-go. Josh has just had a moment coming out of turn 18, I think, so that's Josh now down into 13th. RGW is going side by side with Larkin still, coming through the final sector, coming through the final couple of corners, but Zernemer leads. Toxic is not in second. It's Nolan in second and Toxic in third at this stage with Brent in 4th, and following on then behind him, I believe, is Miami and then Campbell.
Is Miami, Larkin, RGW from what I can see.
Yeah, I think Campbell's in amongst that, if I've got to be honest. I think he's in 6th. If I'm not mistaken, we'll see it update. There we are. He's behind Wouter.
Just ahead is Campbell down the inside of into the hairpin. Gets the move done there. QBR Campbell making his way up the order.
Yeah, he needed that. He needed that. Honestly, Woods is going to try and fight back, though, at the back of Campbell. It's not 7/10 of a second, as you see to the left-hand side. Nolan's going side by side with Toxic actually down into the braking zone of turn 8. Toxic just about holds on, and now Woods tries to go all the way around the outside. He's got that left side line plate damage, remember. Campbell on the outside line. Campbell through. Rocco runs right into the back of him as well. Miami is not entirely out of this either. Larkin not entirely out of this. He's about a second down, but Rocco right on the back now of Wooter. Sweet Crown, of course, formerly known as Wouter, and Rocco looks down the inside line, gets the move done, and he's up into 6th. Rocco through on Wouter. Wouter, by the way, formerly known as Sweetground, not the other way around.
Wouter dropping back due to that wing damage. Obviously playing a factor that he can't get from the corners as smoothly as everyone else, as I believe. You just spotted something?
Larkin had a 5-second penalty for corner cutting coming through the chicane, and RGW's through and he's into 9th.
So we're seeing some silly corner cuttings coming up right now. I think for Campbell, he was trying to take avoiding action, not knowing if the cars would go, so maybe Campbell may put that into the stores to be removed. But right now, Swadema leads, Toxic second, Nolan in 3rd.
Yeah, but look at Toxic run on the back of Zerdemer. Lap 3 out of 11. DRS now enabled, of course, here in the sprint race. Toxic run on the back of Zerdemer. Zerdemer now under pressure. He's got to try and weather the storm from Toxic's pressure. But if Toxic's pressure is anything to go by, it's really not that much. Nolan on the back of him. Out on track, looks to the inside line as Sofian has just made a mistake down in towards the chicane of 5 and 6. Verstappen now through, and he's into 11th and making good ground through the field. But now Toxic out on the back of Zerdemer, hunting him down all the way down in towards turn 8. I don't think he's going to have the legs. If I was smart, or if Toxic was smart, he'll try and actually back off this and get the DRS. As now Zerdemer looks to the outside line. Toxic actually dives it down the inside line. He's not that smart as me. As Toxic looks to the outside line. Zerdemer on the inside line, and he sprints on the curb, and Zerdemer's back there, and he's into the lead, but look at Nolan. Nolan's now on the outside line. Could he get 2 of them? Trying to go away on the outside. Toxic is now backed up, and he's into 3rd. Nolan on the outside line, and Zerdemer running side by side. They go. Trying to look. Zerdemer just about hanging on. Nolan trying to hang on in there, but goodness me, great racing. Toxic just cut up at the pass as well, and behind Campbell, Brent. Rocco dives it down the inside as well. Rocco through on Brent, and he's into 5th position. Great move there by Rocco, but Nolan's right on the back of Zerdemer, and Zerdemer now is going to try and weather the storm. Excel against Relentless once again.
Yeah, and we got QVR not too far off the back of it either.
just insane, this race so far. This sprint race is living up to absolute expectations. RGDW, by the way, is on the back of Ruta once again. Ruta, of course, his old rival from the feature race, and now looks to the inside line, down in towards the final corner. Doesn't get the move done. Josh is right on the back as well of Sofian. Sofian under pressure from Verstappen, actually trying to pressurise Larkin, but RGW looks to the outside line through turn 1. Ruta hangs on, he's up into 8. RGW's going to be smart though, he's got the car ahead, obviously with the wing damage. Toxic though, right on the back of Nolan, pretty much forcing him coming through turn 3. Zerderman pulls away, 0.6 of a second, and Toxic now held up behind Nolan. Nolan, if there was a park the bus, if there was a park the bus tactic in this game, Nolan's now showing it.
Yep, I think Nolan doing the
Is he out of
championship
DRS?
an absolute solid. No, he's just about right. He's doing the championship an absolute solid, but here goes Toxic now. He's going to look around the outside, and Campbell's going to be sitting back, licking his chops, waiting to see what's going to happen here.
And Nolan's got damage actually, right side end plate damage, and he forces Toxic off, and Toxic has to cut across the escape road. And Nolan side by side with Campbell, and Toxic rejoins just out of these guys on this carnage. Toxic rejoins just in front, and now Campbell on the outside line. There was a bit of a box effect, I think, going on there with Toxic and Nolan, and now Campbell to the outside line. These two are teammates, they're not supposed to fight. Toxic and Campbell now side by side. Look at Nolan in behind as well. Nolan, of course, right side end plate damage. I think he picked that up on the first lap. Rocco right on the back of these as well. But Zerderman has absolutely shot up the road. It's 1.8 seconds out on track, and Zerderman now surely in prime position as Rocco let through by Nolan. Rocco there through into P4, and Rocco was the one that looks like he's going to try and apply pressure to the back of Campbell and Toxic.
Yeah, I think a smart call there from Nolan. He picks up a 3-second time penalty, letting his teammate go on the hunt, and this is interesting because see Campbell with that 5-second time penalty. I think he'll probably put her in to get that removed.
Nolan's in.
Is he? Yep, Nolan into the
and he retires. He retires out on track. I know the damage was quite effective in terms of his race pace, but Nolan could have fought for points there, and Nolan is out of the race. And unfortunately for him, he retires. It's similar to Josh, retiring obviously in the feature race. But if I was being Nolan, I would have tried to continue, try to hold the guys up and behind, and then try to fight for positions. He could have ended up. Anything could happen in these races. He could have ended up towards the top end of the field.
Yes, we got Verstappen getting side by side with JDW for P8. They are wheel to wheel on this back straight.
No, JDW's just about going to have the legs. I think Miami is going to go through, and Brent in the meantime as well. Miami through. Brent actually goes to the inside line. Doesn't get the move done. Miami's through and he's into 5th. Larkin still in 7th. Verstappen has got ahead of RGW as a result, and Sofian is now ahead of Ruta and he's into P10 as well. Verstappen though, under pressure from RGW. Toxic in the meantime, right on the back of Zerderman. How on earth has he caught up 1.8 seconds? It's just under a lap. Toxic is now right on the back of Zerderman. Zerderman under a lot of pressure. Ruta gets out of the way of Josh, and Josh is through and he's into 11th. But Zerderman's pace is literally non-existent compared to Toxic.
Rocco losing traction, going for a half spin, dropping down now into 6th place.
No damage though on the car, luckily, and Rocco in 6th position, still continuing on. That might be his chance of the race win. Just gone up in absolute flames. Toxic now to the outside line. He's on the inside line of Zerderman. Now to the inside of turn 21. Doesn't force the issue. Campbell in behind him as well. Toxic has got to be very, very careful here. Zerderman gets caught on the curb though, and now Toxic is side by side running down in towards turn 1. The racing point on the outside line. He's not going to go all the way around the outside of turn 1, is he? This is the champion. Oh, and Toxic has forced Zerderman into the wall. That was only going to end up in absolute tears, and I think Toxic got caught on the inside. Hopefully the ghosting system comes in. BSE is deploying out on track. Toxic is through on Campbell. Toxic is still in the lead of the race from Campbell, I should say, but Toxic just forcing Zerderman into the wall. Looked like he caught on the outside curb, went into a half spin, and Zerderman, wrong place, wrong time. Yeah,
I was on board with Campbell. I saw the snap at the back end from Toxic's car. It's a shame for Zerdema, unfortunately now down in 5th place, and
Ruta.
A drive-through penalty for Ruta.
Yep, drive through for Ruta. 5 seconds for Campbell and Larkin, and Zerderman's off. What happened there?
I was on board with that. Rocco and Zudema, I think.
Oh, it's 3 wide! Somebody cut in, it's 3 wide down in towards turn 8. Rocco, Larkin and Verstappen trying to go side by side. Look at the run of Verstappen! Verstappen's on the outside line. Look at the run that the Prima has got. Verstappen on the outside line. Campbell's going side by side with the race lead as well, but Verstappen has got 2 on 2 of them. Larkin is now going to get Rocco. It's all absolute carnage here in the sprint race as Verstappen is through. Rocco dives it down the inside, gets the move done. Verstappen is through and he's into 5th, and if anybody was in the right place at the right time there, it was Verstappen, and he's taken 2 for the price of 1.
Yeah, but just going back to that...
And sorry to cut in, Josh is going around the outside of Sophia and round the triple right-hander in towards turn 17. This is impossible from Josh. Can he get the move done? He's on the inside of 18. Trying to get the move done. Sophia is there, but it's brilliant from Josh. He runs wide, but absolutely unbelievable from Josh. Around the outside of the triple right-hander. He's into 9th.
This is unbelievable stuff. Struggling to get a little bit of a break here. There's action up and down the field. There's RJ getting all over the back of Larkin. Not making the move though. But yeah, just going back to the incident with Zudema and Rocco, I think I'm not sure I was on board with Zudema. It looked like he just tried to squeeze Rocco and they just got caught on each other, and into the wall goes Zudema, and out he is.
Yeah, and you know how bad it is in terms of the obviously the crash model on this game. It's so difficult. Wheel on wheel, you're going to end up in the wall. It's as simple as that. Toxic is in the lead of the rest of the race and has actually pulled now 9/10 of a second on the back of Campbell. Miami is in 3rd, Brent in 4th, Verstappen in 5th. Verstappen, he spun earlier on in the race. How's he in 5th?
Verstappen just picking his opportunities up here, and he is on the back of Brent, and you got to think Verstappen does have the pace to get past both of these guys. He's looking at a P3. As here goes Brent around the outside of Miami. Is he going to be able to pull this off?
Verstappen's going to get an insane run here. Look at the outside line. This is brilliant from Verstappen. He's I can't even get me words out. He's through and he's into 4th position. Not often I'm speechless, but Verstappen is through. Pinpoint accurate once again, and he's through and he's into 4th. Verstappen is on an absolute monstrous drive through the field.
Verstappen making up for that spin early on. He's up in the 4th place, and with Campbell having that 5-second time penalty, I mean, I believe he's going to put in to get that removed. But at the moment, you could see a situation where Verstappen will jump up into 2nd as Rocco picks up a 3-second time penalty.
Oh, Mike and James need a podcast, says Jav. I don't think so after this. Toxic leads the way by 7/10 of a second. Miami is on the back, is under pressure now from Verstappen, and look at the train in behind. Brent Rocco runs wide, coming through turn 2. That's track extension if I've ever seen it, coming through turn 2. Larkin now on the back of Rocco, and Larkin just loses time as RGW picks up a 3-second time. Wucha has still got that drive-through penalty, by the way. It decided to pit him in instead of him serving that drive-through penalty. Rooter is in the final sector and it'd be hoping to try and get some sort of result. Rocco now on the back of Brent, and Brent is going to be under a lot of pressure here from Rocco. Verstappen is going to try and pressurise Miami as well, but Rocco right on the back. Rooter has sped into the pit lane. Is that the end of his race, I wonder? I don't know, but Rocco's down the inside of Brent, trying to get the move done. He has done. He's down the inside line. Brent's got damage, I think, on that left side end plate slightly, but Rocco now through and he's into 5th, but Verstappen's got an awesome run on the back of Miami. Running now pretty much towards side by side, down in towards turn 11. Verstappen's on the outside line. He dummies him to the inside line. This is great from Verstappen. This is an absolute champion's drive. He forced the issue down the inside line. I think there was only going to be one outcome. Verstappen was always committed into that move. Miami will feel hard done by, but in the end, Verstappen's through.
Yeah, and let's see what Verstappen's pace is like now. 5.5 seconds to Campbell up ahead as Nolan's left the session, unfortunately, for him caught up in quite a bit of chaos, I would say, early on in this race.
Yeah, Nolan just coming in with a comment, by the way, and I totally agree with this. How to get past people in an F2, take their wings off. Understood. Yeah, driving standards do need to improve, I think, as a result of the racing out on track tonight. Toxic leads the way from Campbell in 2nd, Verstappen in 3rd, Miami in 4th. Of course, any incidents that we've seen on stream, and any drivers, of course, that record their POV and send their incident will get a penalty, I am sure. Sofian on the outside line of Josh. breezes around the outside of turn 1.
Oh, fantastic from Sofian.
I think Josh has got damage, if I'm not mistaken. If not, he's really struggling in terms of that car. But Sofian through and he's into P9. I think Josh had a really poor run coming out the final corner, and that means Sofian, the Frenchman, is through on the Dutchman, and he's through and he's into 9th position. Campbell, Toxic, race lead, 0.4 of a second. Campbell's got to pull 5 seconds on Toxic. It can't be done, can it?
This is going to be the issue now for Campbell. He'll have to deal with his teammate ahead of him. But will his teammate just let him go? As actually, never mind that, Campbell got a fantastic run. DRS wide open. He's going to look around the outside of Toxic for the race lead.
Campbell is on the outside. Oh, and that's absolutely picture perfect from Campbell. Really turns out to perfection, and he's through and he's into the lead of the race. Further down the field, though, Larkin side by side with Brent. Down the inside line he goes in the MP. RGW is very late on the brakes. Goodness me, nearly ran into the back of him. Larkin though through and he's into 6th position, and Brent very much under pressure from RGW. RGW came like a cannon coming down in towards turn 11. Nearly ran into the back of Brent, but somehow he's actually ended up better off, and he's right on the back of him.
Epic battle going on for P6 right now. I'm interested in this gap between Verstappen picks up a 3-second time penalty, and that takes away the gap. But what that does do now is give Miami a shot at the podium here.
Yeah, Miami's in a really good spot in terms of the podium. You can see the penalties, 3 seconds there for Verstappen just in front of him. Toxic onto the penultimate lap of the race, trying to chase down Campbell. Toxic is in the prime spot to try and take this. Josh has fed into the pit lane 5 seconds. I wonder if he's going to respond to Ruta coming in for the fastest lap. Brent and RGW though, so nearly line astern, coming through 7 and in 7th and 8th, coming through 2 and 3 there. Campbell now leading the way, but Toxic right on the back of him, and Toxic will be hoping to try and go onto the back of Campbell running down the straight. He might try and tom it down in towards turn 11. He may wait to the final lap of the race. Whatever is the outcome, this is going to be quite exciting between the two teammates.
Yeah, we also got to think, is Toxic just going to sit
behind?
Oh no,
because sorry to cut in, Mike. Rocco's down the inside of Miami. Does he get the car stopped? Just about. Miami's on the outside line. Rocco forced him nearly into the outside, and Rocco spins the car, and Miami is through, and Toxic is through now on Campbell for the race lead. Toxic is through, makes the move down around the outside of turn 11, gets the job done, and he's into the lead of the race, and now we've only got 1.5 laps to go.
Yeah, Toxic back through into the race lead, and I was about to say, is Toxic going to be, fine if Campbell goes ahead of him? Yes, Toxic goes very deep there, and Campbell over the back of him is Rocco side by side with Miami.
Oh, they touch on each other. Miami's run out wide. Rocco all out of shape with Miami. I think Miami was the one that was more out of shape compared to Rocco, but Rocco was through and he's into 4th, and Miami now dropping his way out of sort of a 2nd, and Rocco's now pretty much got a DRS nullified essentially as Toxic sets a new fastest lap of the race. DRS has been nullified essentially between Rocco and Miami. As soon as I say that though, it's back out for a second as Miami now comes across the line. Final lap of the race. Larkin, Brent, RGW trying to hunt down on the back of Miami. Miami's podium though has pretty much gone away from him. Verstappen looks like he's going to get it now.
Yeah, it looks like Verstappen doing just about enough, and he is closing up on Campbell, but unfortunately that 3-second time penalty has very much hindered him. But can Campbell take the victory here on track? I believe Campbell will try and get that 5-second time penalty removed. He needs to overtake Toxic here.
He needs to, and he needs to try and do it now as he closes up onto the back of Toxic. Toxic leads the way. Campbell in 2nd. Campbell closes up to the back. I don't think, though, he's going to be strong enough down the straight unless he gets an absolute awesome run. He spins the car slightly as Campbell has not got enough to close in on the back of Toxic. This looks like Toxic's now for the taking out on track, and he leads the way still. RGW's on the back of Brent, coming out the outside of turn 10, and now running down in towards turn 11. Toxic leading the way from Campbell. RJDW's on the back of Brent. Sofian in 9th position as well. Not entirely out of that, but Toxic is now coming through the final couple of corners out on track, and Campbell will be hoping to try and get onto the back of him. But that 5-second penalty, as you say, Mike, might be removed as they come into the grandstand for the final time. Toxic is leading 6 tenths of a second. The Marina to the right hand side now coming through turn 20. It's going to be Toxic coming around the final corner. It's going to be 2 wins from him out on track. The first one he was robbed. Is the second one going to be robbed as well? But Toxic comes across the line to win in Abu Dhabi. Campbell across the line actually goes outside of a second and will let Toxic get the win as a result. Verstappen across the line in third, Rocco fourth, Miami in fifth, Larkin in sixth, Brent and RGW jump up, Rocco's up to seventh as well, Larkin down to eighth, Sophia now across the line in ninth. We wait for Josh and Ruta, but Campbell looked like he backed off there to let Toxic get the win.
I mean, you don't want to see that. We're not even halfway through the season. Campbell, go for it.
Yeah, it looked like either he got a really poor run at the final corner, or that was the case, and I think Campbell's probably given Toxic the win. Even if he gets that 5-second penalty removed, it's outside of a second, so Campbell will not win the race as a result. He still wouldn't have, I think, if he just kept it flat out. Josh has set the new fastest lap of the race with a 1:49.9. Ruta is 8 tenths down in the middle sector, so it looks like Josh has stolen it from his teammate as now Ruta comes out through the final couple of corners. It's been relentless in terms of action. Not really good performances in terms of relentless, though, as Ruta now comes to the final couple of corners. His championship now might just be down the drain as a result of this bad result. Comes across the line to finish in 11th position. My oh my, what a sprint race though. But Toxic has taken the win, and I can say with confidence Toxic will extend his championship lead. Driver of the day is voted by the in-game fans for the sprint race, Campbell.
Yeah, Campbell will pick up the in-game driver of the day. However, I mean, all these positions right now are subject to Stewart's inquiries, I would say. We could see some more changes before we come back next Monday.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's obviously subject to change. I think that's what we're going to say. The stewards' investigations, of course, will come out of the racing here tonight in Abu Dhabi as we, of course, go to next week. And next week's race, of course, I believe is in Russia.
Yep, and Sochi.
Spasiba. It's about as much Russian as I know. Toxic wins out on track. It's a race lap 1-2. However you will look at it, if that 5-second penalty is removed, won't be enough for Campbell to win. Toxic wins from Campbell in second. Verstappen, I think, gets my drive of the day vote in third. I don't know how, by the way, it's awarded him fastest lap when Toxic's quicker than him. Very strange. Mary in fourth, Brenton fifth, RGW in sixth, Rocco seventh, Larkin in eighth, Sophia in ninth. Josh ran off the top 10, Ruta in 11th, Zerma into the wall, down the straight of all places, in 12th after a collision with Rocco, Nolan in 13th, Benny across the line, not even completing the lap, in 14th position, but Toxic has won, Campbell's in second, and Verstappen is in third.
Yep, and that is very interesting now. Verstappen, I think, well, definitely now second in the championship, and possibly the nearest rival now to Toxic. I believe Verstappen outscored Toxic in the 2 races here today. I'm just going to do a quick math scenario. Just I'll do some mathematics.
While you do that, of course, we'll have a look into next week's action in Russia, and Russia, of course, will be hoping that it's going to be fantastic racing, of course, in Sochi. I think it might have a shade of Abu Dhabi about it, maybe within the sprint race. Benny, by the way, I'm really sorry for lap 1, completely missed my braking, but tried to avoid everyone and panicked with the collision with Verstappen. Verstappen, I've got to be honest, just drove an absolute awesome race. I think overall, for me, this week, he gets my drive of the day.
Yeah, and I have to agree with you. Verstappen was absolutely fantastic today, and I mean, an argument could be made without that incident at the start. He could have been right there putting Toxic and Campbell under a lot more pressure. We saw his drive back through the field. It was absolutely fantastic in the sprint race. Yeah,
it cost them the same amount of time, I think, compared to Campbell's 5-second penalty. So if you take that all away, and Campbell's 5-second penalty away, we could have had a battle for the lead right at the death of that race, theoretically. out on track. But we didn't, and it's a shame we didn't. Hopefully we can, though, next week in Russia. Round 6 of the championship will be upcoming for you next week, of course, on a Monday evening. And of course, if you do want to tune in for more action here on League of Europe, you can tune in, because of course we have got Friday night worth action. It's both LOE PC and LOE ACC as well. Very mouthful to say if you've had one too many. And obviously Saturday as well. Division 1, 3 and 4 at 6:40. Division 2 and 5 at 8:10 PM UK time. And we cannot wait to bring you more action, of course, this week here on the League of Europe channel. But that is it from myself and Michael Edwards. Please take care of yourselves in this crazy world we all live in. For myself and Mike, thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, goodbye.
Yep.